And I'm declaring my independence. Independence from what? Why, negative thoughts and energy, of course. Chief among them, hate, division, and fear. You see, I know that we're all one, and together we can solve any problem, save our planet and each other. Please, join me as we come together as one and choose a better way to be. So now, let's begin with my independence report. Hey, welcome to my independence report. By the way, Eric, I've changed the opening a little bit, and I've got I've put the pictures up of Coriel and Natasha, who I have on a regular basis, who do their own show. I need a picture of you, sir.
Oh, brave man. Thank you. Okay. Sure.
This is turning into one of my most favorite segments of the week. So I really enjoy the opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you. It's my favorite hour of the week as well. And I will find a picture for this.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm jacked. I'm all at Twitter, a something or other. Do you know why?
Why is that?
Because I got to get up at 6 o'clock this morning, and I was able to do an interview with a young singer-songwriter from Sweden, who is, and you listen to her. She is just something.
Oh man, she is phenomenal. The Fia, right?
Yeah, Fia. Yes, F-A-I. Fia.
F-A-I. She is gorgeous, and what a stunning voice and talent. I love her lyrics, man. That woman's to say, and the way she sees them will just carry you everywhere. She is wow.
Well, I got to tell you the most interesting thing about her. And by the way, right now, not to pull away from this broadcast, but you don't have to, because it's on tape on YouTube now. You can go listen to that complete interview. Shortly, it'll be on Podbean as well, and you'll be able to listen to the audio there and the video on YouTube. But I mentioned to her that her voice and her talent was exceptional. And what was really interesting too was that she's done 3 albums now. You know how she funded them?
How she what?
How she funded them? Paid for them?
How?
By GoFundMe pages.
No kidding.
She has enough people that value her work and really believe in it that she went and put up a GoFundMe page and they funded it to the tune of like $4,000 or $5,000.
Man, that's wonderful.
And so
why?
Yeah, because she'd started out by just doing her work in small rooms and in small gatherings and stuff, and it's just grown, and then of course COVID hit, and so she hasn't been able to do anything. But she is doing, and here's a shameless plug, just because I can. She is doing a concert, a free concert this Friday night at 8 o'clock, and you can.
That's Swedish time, right?
That's Swedish time, so it'd be 11 a.m. Pacific time. So somebody can go there, go to her website, which her name is Fia, and just type in FOSS and it'll come up. I promise.
Brilliant woman. I mean, that's taking advantage of the current situation. That's kind of the way things have to be now.
It is, and she's got over. Get this. She's got over 1,000 people that have RSVP to her deal. I mean, this I keep saying, this child, she's 26 years old, so she's a card carrying adult, but she's damn it, Eric, to be that talented, to have her heads on that straight at 26 is not fair. I won't be 26 years.
She's got it all, and I hope she gets it all from this too.
Oh, she will.
She deserves the world. She just deserves the world.
More importantly, what she deserves of the world, the world deserves her and needs her, because her motivation, her singing, her style, the lyrics. It all comes together and is, you know what you told me, just, and I don't know if you how much you believe in this stuff or not, but I'm just going to say it anyway. I
What's
said,
that?
well, what is your songwriting like? What do you do? Is it lyrics first? Is it song first? Because you listen to people like McCartney, and he generally comes up with the song first, and then he'll take lyrics to fit into the song. Elton John comes up with the song first because he can't write no lyrics, so he has to wait for Bernie Taupin to bring him the lyrics, and then he writes the song. So everybody's got their own processes. Hers is she sits in front. She's got a little table and a little she puts candles and stuff. She would call it an altar. She sits by that, and this is exactly what she said. She said, I sit by that, I open my thoughts, I open my mind, and the music starts flowing into my brain, and then it goes to my hand, and I write it down.
Oh man,
So that's pretty cool. It's like she's got the other side and her guides and people like Elvis Presley and John Lennon on speed dial.
oh man. So she's like a medium.
She doesn't claim to be, nor does she. She claims to be intuitive, which she is clearly.
Yeah, clearly.
But she doesn't claim to be psychic per se, because that's not her shtick. That's not what she wants to be known as. But
Yeah.
she is quite insightful and very she can pull stuff from the other side, because I believe honestly that's why we love music so much. It reminds us of home. It reminds us of the other side. That's my humble opinion. But that's just me.
That's an interesting take on things. It's an interesting take on things.
Well, yeah, because music, if you think about music, it can make you feel good. It can make you feel bad. It has the ability to have the entire range of motion or range of emotions in your head. It can make you feel better. It can cause your day to go a lot. It's just it is something that about music, the vibration of it. I'm not sure what, but it really is. As you can tell, it's got me going today. So I'm awake. I'm awake.
Well, musicians always talk about it. And Linda Ronstadt, that gentleman from New Orleans, that the brothers. Well, you talked to even Dean Sudakawa, the great jazz musician, great jazz pianist that just passed away last week. They would talk about the healing qualities of music.
Yeah.
It is a medicine. It is a medicine. It's its own language. It's its own process. It's a language we don't fully understand. We all fully it in our own way.
No,
and we can share it, but we just don't all understand it in our own way. And I think you're very right to think this, because we get in touch with in our mother's womb. We listen to our heartbeat, and we're aware of the sounds around us. That's why there have been studies about, let your child listen to music. So people put classical music on their bellies. I want my child to hear Brahms. I want my child to hear the Beatles, And it has these positive effects because they know that kids are exposed to music at an early age, whether they're just exposed to it and listen to it intelligently, or learn to play it or participate with it, grow up being more, dare I say, intelligent or actively in the world. So there is something very powerful about it that we don't have the full grasp of what it is. But we do indeed have it. And animals share this as well, because I know you've seen the videos about musicians playing for elephants or for cows, and these creatures approaching them and absolutely mesmerized by what they're doing. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, they say that cows are so comforted. Dairy cows, they play music for them because they seem to produce more milk.
See, isn't that interesting?
It is interesting. The whole well, it's like I was telling Fia today when we were talking about that songwriting stuff. I said I believe it's from the other side. It's from on high. It's from God, because Paul McCartney woke up with the song Yesterday in his head.
Yeah, I heard that.
He had no earthly idea where it came from. He it came to him completely, and he didn't forget it because he had dreamed it. And so he went to several people to ask. He went to John, and he went to what's his name, the producer. God, I'm losing my
Fish
mind.
beetle.
Yeah, and he went to a lot of those folks, and they said, "Nope, haven't heard that before. That must be yours." So he owned it after a couple of weeks, but originally it was green. It was scrambled eggs and ham was the name of the thing because he hadn't developed any lyrics for it. So he and John sat down and wrote some lyrics, and that became yesterday.
Scrambled eggs and ham
Yeah,
seems so far away. Want
he
some
could.
ketchup to play? Some salt and pepper too.
Yeah. Well, as a matter of fact, I was thinking about this in that line of thinking. Why don't you write lyrics for someone?
Oh, I tried once. A buddy of mine approached me about a year now that is a musician, and his son is a gifted musician. And he said, "You should write some lyrics for me." So I tried and failed miserably. And I think it's my process is similar to Fia's in the way that I have control over it. I
Uh,
really don't have control over it. I'll sit and I'll write. Like today, I wrote a piece and I had no idea what I was going to, but I decided I was in the mood to write. Well, I was in the mood to write. So I sat down, opened up my computer, and there was a blank space to write on. And with the title, as I normally do, and I just filled in the blanks. And about 4 minutes later, I was done. And that's my process. And if I have to plan something that I come up with a phrase and it has to sound like a lyric where there's some rhyming involved, and then you repeat it so it fits the same amount of space, a hint of continuation of the story and chorus. I just don't work like that. I wish I did, because I would feel like a more complete writer if I did. I just don't have it.
well, you wouldn't be a bus driver anymore. I can tell you that, because if you could figure out how to do the lyrics and stuff, because you write so beautifully. So it's just a matter
Thank you.
of doing, putting that together and putting the lyrics together. But can you share with us, with your listening public, what you wrote today?
Sure. In fact, my friend Paulette suggested that I do that.
Oh,
So
very good. Is Paulette listening?
I believe she is. She said she was going to. So I hope she can.
Hi, Paulette, if you're listening.
She's always turning in. It's so nice that she does that. She's a wonderful lady.
Now,
So
if she wants to, Paulette, just so you know, you can go to where comments are, which is on the right side of your screen. And if you click on comments, then you can post a comment and say hello if you are there, and stuff. And if you have a question for Eric or comment, you can leave it there. That would be kind of cool. So anyway, what did you write today?
June under full moon. It was the year I was living in Monroe, in the woods just a few yards west of Woods Lake. I hired a small area for a small cabin. Some nights I slept in a tent. Some nights I slept at a buddy's abandoned house about 2 or 3 miles down the road. The property is 7 miles north of Highway 2. It is mostly second growth cedars now. First growth was taken in the 60s, though there are some stumps left from a fire that was started by lightning. One of which, 100 yards or so from the build site, had been hollowed out by time. Dirt floor, empty space of maybe a 7-foot diameter. The top, 6 or so feet up, was shaped like a cave. I had placed a foldable chair and a small table there for sitting, of which I would do so often, listen to the rain dance on leaves or wind play with branches, and an occasional deer would walk by and not even notice that I was sitting there with my cup of tea. It was an escape into this tree that I liked the best. There is something indescribable about being inside of a tree trunk unseen while you watch the web, birds and creatures. Something like a live-action TV, I guess. Leaves, dirt, and rot. No one knows that you are there. It is a place that I can only imagine one can find there. They are truly separated from the world as dysfunctional hustle and bustle. We think of full moons as magical, beautiful, and mysterious. I guess we do so for its folklore. I will say the woods are different under full moons. Trees and paths are lit at night. You can walk and see your feet where you are going. You can see the subtle shades of green, browns, red. There are also shadows, shadows of differing grays and shapes. They move with the clouds that come between you and the moon. This accents the sounds of moving branches that the breeze or wind or small creatures are busier. Owls, coyotes, raccoons, and mice. It is their time. They take advantage of the moon and the deer are aware. This is where being in a hollowed out old growth cedar is a harbor. The breeze will enter, swirl inside its cave, give you the sense of the forest, exit with the sounds of the breeze, of the wind, of the branches, of the leaves, and the sounds of all. That's what I wrote this morning.
That's very cool. That's very. Now, when you write that, when you sat down to yourself, said, "Self, I feel like sitting down and writing." What's that feel like?
It feels like I need to sit down and write.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and
Maybe you misunderstood the question.
there's a how do I answer this? There's like emotional need to fill a space, and it's triggered by something. And sometimes my emotional responses are triggered by a lifetime event. For example, a dear friend of mine passed away a couple of months ago, and I was helping him through the process of transitioning, as our friend would describe it. And there was a point where he would have to choose to spend his time on a hospital bed delivered into his living room. And me, uninitiated on exactly what that meant, was rather crass in preparing that for him. In not understanding that when you commit to the hospital bed, you're committing yourself to death, which means that you recognize your life is over. And another friend of mine pointed to me in a way that she didn't know that I was being crass. She just pointed out, what a move that is to take on a hospital bed that's been delivered into your living room. And as she was explaining it to me, it's how big of a step that was. And it crushed me because this person meant so much to me in life that his signified a lot of death of my past to me as well. So it was crushing, and it took me, the only way I could of it was to write something about it. And once I was able to write something about it, then I could actually emotionally move on and deal with the world and what was coming next. And I hope that explains it, because I don't have a better way to explain it. It's emotional need. And maybe that's why people like me write, because we don't have another way. We lack maybe other ways to deal with the world in such the way that it is.
Well, I think, in all honesty, I think that's why all of us that follow our heart and follow our passion, that's what we do. Let me tell you a story real quick, if I can.
Yeah.
This goes back to 2002. A friend of mine and I wanted to start some sort of a program, either a radio program or television program or whatever. We had an agenda, we had an idea of what we wanted to say, and we wanted to talk about spirit, the other side. We wanted to do a bunch of meditation, a bunch of things like that. And I was a district sales manager for a food company, and he was a special ed teacher. Neither of us had been in radio or worked in any of that for like ever. And I don't know what it was that decided us to do that. Well, we started doing it, and I fell in love with the medium. I fell in love with the project. I fell in love with the program, and I found out I can do this. It's okay. I can figure it out, and I can do it. And so it became my life passion. It's like you figured out that you could write, and you figured out that you could write not too long ago.
Yeah, it's pretty much this year. A year
And
ago now. Yeah.
so when you figured out that you could write, and it was emotionally satisfying for you, emotionally and spiritually satisfying for you, that's when you know that you are in the, as they say, in the flow, and that you are moving forward the way that you are, the way your heart and the way your soul wants you to move. If when you're done writing, if you as an example, if you wrote that today and you were done writing it, and by the way, it was beautiful,
Thank you.
and you were done writing it and you said, I don't know, that's not very good, I didn't have a good time, it was a piece of crap, and I didn't I but if you felt enriched by it, if you felt your soul, if you felt good by doing it, then that's a real big sign that that's what you are, that's in your flow, that's your passion, that's what you need to cultivate and you need to do more of, because that's your contribution. You didn't even recognize you had that contribution until a year ago, and a lot of us
That's
don't
so correct.
until we're older.
That's so correct. A lot of us don't get an opportunity to really find out what it is that we're meant to do.
Well, the way society works and the way that we are taught to work is you go to school, you get an education, you get a job, you get married, you get the picket fence, you get the kids, you get, and then what? And then, is it continuing to work? Is it continuing to, you raise your kids, you do the parent teacher thing. I was a scoutmaster, I was a coach, and all that stuff, and you get them through that. But then what? When it gets to the point where they don't need you anymore, and or your wife doesn't or your wife doesn't need you anymore, in in, in, in those respects, then you got to figure out what in the hell are you going to do with the rest of your life.
Exactly.
And what we need to do is get you a cameraman for the rest of your life.
Yeah, so that I have a laptop stand that just gave up the ghost. Just gave up the ghost. So
it was the amount that you were pounding on it earlier.
Its purpose in life has found its end. It's now going to be something else.
So, and by the way, I'm sorry for your loss, for your friend.
Thank you.
I know that's good. I lost my best friend from high school. That we hadn't been close in a long time, but he passed away in the spring, and my brother, who we hadn't been close for in a long time, passed away in the fall. So, but he had the same experience as your friend, which was he was home. He had stage 4 lung cancer. Oof. He went through. Are you familiar with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross? Elizabeth Kubler. Elizabeth Kubler. She has written many books, and I encourage anybody who's listening to this an hour down the road to pick those up. And she's written a book called The 5 Stages of Grief. And the five stages of grief are what happens when something bad happens to us, or when somebody else passes away. What are the stages? And they're like anger, denial, blame. There are 5, and you can just Google them online, and they'll come up, all 5 of them. And the last one is acceptance. Accepting your situation, and that's when they would get him the bed. Is when he was at the point when he accepted the fact that that will be the last bed that he'll have, and that he's going to die within 6 months. That's the acceptance you have to have for that.
That is a huge moment. The amount of things that you have to give up at that point, and my friend's situation was different than that. He did not get an opportunity to make that choice, which is both good and bad, So I'm happy that he had a long period of transition coming to him, but I'm happy that ended up not having to be a long transition. I'm glad that it was quicker for him. And I
Was
guess
it?
that's
Go ahead.
and I guess that's really all I have to say about that. When somebody passes, you, and in his case, he was a guy that I hadn't been in touch with for over a decade, maybe a decade and a half, and I was really saddened because we talked a lot in that past. We talked a lot in that 7 or 8 months of his life, and wow, we shared information with each other. We were great friends when he passed, and that had special meaning to me as well. But left a big hole in my heart because somebody that good of a friend could have been a friend for quite a long time. So you place it best as you can, and you move on, and you're just happy you had that time with him. And the way the world works, in my mind anyway, people run in circles, and I'm pretty sure that somehow I'll have the privilege of running into him again.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there's no question about it.
Yeah.
From my framework, and I've done a lot of work with a lot of people over a lot of years that have talked about death and dying, and have been mediums, and I've talked to people on the other side, and I've got stories after story. I could fill this hour plus 3 or 4 more just from stories that I've had of people that have talked to people on the other side, including my grandmother, my father, my other grandfather, through mediums, and I can tell you that he's alive. He's alive and doing well. He no longer has any pain. He sees what you. He responds to things that you need help with, and he's there for you because he was a good friend. And it's important for you to recognize that he didn't go anywhere. He's still there for you. And you can still talk to him. It's just more subtle. Think of it like when you're in the writing process. I'll tell you what. Ask him one day when you're sitting just at your computer after you fix the stand. Yeah, and you're just at your computer one day. I want you to do this for me, and this is homework for next week. If you get into the mood between now and then, I want you to sit at your computer. I want you to think of your friend, and say, "How are you?" And then type out whatever happens, whatever words come to you. Just type it out.
Oh, interesting. He was a technician. I think I'll do that when I ask him to. I think I'll ask him to help me fix that goofy thing that I just broke. Goofy laptop thing.
Yeah. But I can tell you that when I lose somebody, when somebody passes, they're not really dead. They're not gone. They're not going to hell. They're not going to have a horrible time. It's not a matter of, first of all, the transition, generally speaking, their transitions are a lot less painful than what we might think they might be. And they also are transitioning into something that is so much better than here, that they are anxious to go, and they're anxious to return home, because that's what they're doing.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? I like to think of it in that way.
I can tell you that I can tell you for a fact, and of course somebody's going to say you cannot, and I said, well, okay, from your standpoint, you're right, but from my belief structure, it is not questionable. It is an absolute fact that awesome. He's around you, he cares about you, he is happy that you were with him when all the way to the end. He supports you in that, and he's very thankful that you were there to support him. That I can guarantee you. And he's having a great time, whatever he's doing.
I hope so. He deserves the best.
And I'll tell you one thing that you get to look forward to many, did I say many years from now, is that when it's time for you to transition, he'll be there waiting for you.
Oh, that would be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, oh, I can guarantee it. I can guarantee it. As many near-death studies as I've looked at, as many people that have mediums and folks that have talked to mediums and books that have been written and stuff, I can virtually guarantee you that's what happened.
Huh.
And that you will be full in all of the. You meet so many people and you're nice to so many people. You're going to have a big ass party up there.
I will look forward to that. that's our conversation for that. Well, now I got something to look forward to.
Exactly, and it's well, I told that to my brother. I told that to my brother because it called me on a Monday. He'd been sick for quite some time. Called me on a Monday. His girlfriend slash roommate slash female that happened to be living with him at the time called me and said he wants to talk to you. He had a very bad weekend, and he thinks he's going to die today. Well, he didn't die that day. He died 3 days later, but that's when he had reached the point of acceptance. I'm accepting my fate. I understand that God's going to take me home, and he and I had the best exchange we have had in the last 30 years. In that 3 minutes that we talked that day, because he accepted the fact that he was going on and that he accepted what he had done to me and what I'd done to him, and we got through all of that in a very short period of time.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it was by phone because I'm over here in COVID and he's over in Eastern Washington and COVID, and there were forest fires and all that kind of good stuff over there, so we couldn't get there. But so all that transpired really very quickly, and but it was important. It was important. Just like do you think I'm going to get on my soapbox here. Do you think that you coming into his life after being away for 15 years, for the last 8 years, do you think that was some sort of coincidence?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
See?
I know things line up the way they do for a reason. And I'm with you about death causes an intimacy are open to do it. My best moments with my mom were during her transitions. My mom and I were always, and we always had a good relationship, but we were never really the kind that shared our emotional states or talked, with any kind of. It was a lot of small talk, but in her last days, man, we shared everything, and it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. And I think that's the purpose of death, for those of us that share more deeply. Times like that are necessary for us to reach our souls the best we can.
Well, what's interesting about that too, Eric, is that if we chose, and it's a conscious choice, if we chose to drop all the pretense, if I talk to him about this now, what's next Thanksgiving going to look like? Or if we could drop the pretense and be totally honest and above board with everybody, because sometimes it takes the fact that we're about to die, that then we can be honest and say, by the way, son, I love you, but you've been an asshole your whole life. And you don't say that until you don't, or you say, I've loved you, I've treated you wrong. You don't say those heartfelt, real things until it's at the very end.
That's so true. So true. That's why Festivus almost got off the ground. That's why there were Festivus poles being purchased across and almost made it as a holiday. And that's why the Betazoid became popular for a few years. Are you familiar with the Betazoid wedding?
I have not got any idea what you're talking about right now.
Are you a Star Trek fan?
Yes, I am, as a matter of fact.
Well, Deanna Troi.
Yes.
From Next Generation Betazoid. And in her culture, they have weddings that they hold naked.
Oh, I saw that. Yes.
Now, yeah, on the surface, it's kind of funny, and you got to think about Picard wanting to go to the gym before he goes to the wedding, and you think about Worf, but the purpose of that is that it's expression of true honesty of yourself that you're presenting to your partners and the family and the world. So there's something very aggressive about that nudity, and Festivus, as funny as damn funny that is, it's a good natured, purposeful funny because there's some truth behind why it works.
Yeah. Now,
Feats of strength you could throw out the window, but yeah, but telling people why you have fits of anger with them can be meanly rather than pass the damn gravy.
so explain to me again what the Festivus. What is that?
Oh, Festivus from Seinfeld.
Okay, so no, I didn't watch Seinfeld as much as I watched Star Trek. So,
well, Seinfeld. Now I know you're familiar with George Costanza,
oh, sure.
and his father, up with who's just a grouchy guy, and he and his mom, Mrs. Costanza and Mr. Costanza, are always fighting. They're all each other. One of those couples that love to fight. And he came up with the holiday, because he was done with Christmas, Festivus for the rest. And it had all the rules, of which I couldn't tell you all, but it had things like you have grievances that you talk about, you have feats of strength that you perform, and you share things with people that you wanted to get off your chest, and you go through all these things that are just about get it out there. And to have George's father talk about it is not funnier than I ever could, because it's freaking hilarious. But there's some reality to it, and it's been a joke ever since this came on the air. And it was probably, man, I don't know, when was Seinfeld? 90s?
Yeah.
The 2000s. There were some, and there was a poll instead of Christmas. There was a poll that they used, and there was a significant poll, and I can't remember what it was, because it wasn't a maypole that you had to decorate or twirl with strands of something, but you used it, and there was some poles being sold, and people were buying them, and I think there was even a date. And if somebody out there that might be listening remembers when the date of Festivus is, I'd appreciate it. If you, I don't want to offend anybody that's a Christian, because God love you. Christmas, that's one of those holidays that is has lots of layers of muck on it, because as beautiful it is trying to celebrate the birth of the Savior, that's not really his birth date. Nope. That's got a of paganism and Roman this and pagan that, and a little bit of America on it, a little bit of Europe on it, a little bit of shamans, and in fact, Santa Claus, the original Santa Claus came from the hive from a shaman from a mushroom that only grows under a pine tree that's been urinated on by a rain. So just in that specific spot, and it looks like a Santa Claus mushroom, the red and the white spots. So it's a very specific mushroom, and you can get a great buzz on it. See these flying reindeer, and that's that was the birth of Santa Claus. That so many eons ago. So it's got all these great stories, purpose to it, but let's face it, it's a little mucky as far as exact. And that's what's great about Festivus. It's right to the point.
Well, and Seinfeld is known for so many of those things, like no more soup for you, get out. And the soup Nazi, and it was a great show about nothing, but it always had, if you think about it, Larry David, who wrote it along with Seinfeld and the others, they always had a point. They always had a really good point as to what they were thinking about when they did it. And some of them were like, we're talking about nothing, but they never were talking about nothing. It was always
No,
about what was going on in life and the basics of things that were happening in their lives. It was pretty remarkably written.
I think so too. I
You
think so
could do
too.
that.
Well, wouldn't that be nice? I think you and I in fact, I did an outline of two bus drivers sitting. Did you get a
Did you?
chance to read that?
I did not. Did you send it to me?
I sent it to you. Yeah, two bus drivers sitting,
Oh,
where you and I are sitting at the, and we're bus driver report, and we're talking about our experiences, what it's like to drive out there, and the reason why it works in my mind sitting at the base is because it opens us up to announcements that are coming out overhead. We have other bus drivers that come in uh, that says something and this and that. So it's got a little bit of variety to it, and I think
I like
it
that.
could work, huh?
And I like that for those that are not intimately aware with the bus driver lifestyle. What generally will happen is see in bus driver land. If you're 59 seconds now, it's a minute 59, but it was 59 seconds late, and you lose your shift, or you get written up, or you have to go. Like one time, I was close, so I called in, and they said, "Well, you better get here, or I'm going to have to cancel your work, and then I'm going to assign you new work." And this was at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and she said that work doesn't start till 11:30 tonight.
Ooh,
So I hustled my ass, got to work in on time, and made it. And she was very upset because I made it, because that left the night, we call it night owl, pieces that are over and over all night, and that left that piece of work open. But so what we do, we make sure we get to work on time. And then we are generally 15, 20 minutes early. And there's a group of chairs over by the coffee machine and where the some of the snacks are and stuff. They call it the bullpen. And so we sit there and we create dialogue as to what happened in our life in the last 24 hours, because you have to, when you're a bus driver, you have to decompress. You
yeah.
can't hold it in, as Eric will tell you. You can't hold it in because it just drives you crazy if you do.
Oh yeah, no, you need the fellows other drivers, man. People that probably walking down the street would never talk to each other. They're sitting
Not a
next to
million years.
another driver.
Nope.
They're gonna talk. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, because nobody understands us. You have friends, I have friends, I've had family. My kids have been with me every step of the way for the last 11 years as I've been driving a bus. They cannot. There is no way that you can convey to somebody who hasn't experienced it what you just experienced.
No, there isn't. There's just no. There is just no way. A taxi driver maybe, but those people pay to be in those cars.
Yeah.
And currently, now I understand. I don't know what the verb is, but somehow the bus metro has been designated a part of social services.
We're now the
So
safety.
what's that?
We're now part of the safety net.
Right, right. So people that come on, they're not going to chase off.
No. They stopped doing that a while ago.
A
They
while
stopped.
ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we get subjected to a lot of stuff, and um, even our train stations. In fact, I rode an elevator with a civilian last week, and as we entered the elevator, just he and I, who was an older gentleman, well, about my age, and there was a puddle of urine in the middle of the elevator, and we just stood on each side of the elevator, and we looked at it. And he looked at me and said, "Well, I've seen worse." And I said, "Yeah." I bet you have, and so have I. And there was a security guard that met us at the other end of the elevator ride, and he said, "Hey, somebody couldn't wait till they got to a restroom." And said, "I'll take care of it. I've seen worse." And he said, "Yeah."
You know what? You know what the sad part is that because like in the tunnel and in various places they put restrooms. They don't put restrooms for that very reason. They don't want anybody to get to die in the restroom of a drug overdose because they're doing it. The funny thing is down at have you driven down at and laid over at the convention place station or convention center?
Yes.
Have you gone
Route
to the?
150.
Oh yes. Have you gone to the men's room there?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. In the convent. Yes. The half bathroom door with the half doors.
Yes.
About 2.5 feet up and about 2.5 feet down.
Yes. And
Yes.
so when as you're standing there, if you go into the stall and then you close the door to the stall, then and you look to your left, which is normally is where a wall would be, there is no wall there. There's a square hole that goes down almost to where the toilet wrappers are, and so that they can keep an eye on everybody that's in the stall to make sure they're not doing anything illegal or nefarious in there. But it's like that's way too much openness for me. I'm afraid I would not be able to go hang out there.
Sharing is caring, man. Sharing is caring, man. I saw a picture today of a love seat sized toilet that somehow is on the market.
Really?
Yes.
Two holes?
Oh, I think for 3 or 4. I didn't actually. But there's, it's 3 or 4 feet, 3 or 4 sized. It's wide. I don't know what country they're using this in, and who would do that. I don't even know.
Japan or
No,
someplace.
no. I ain't doing that.
No,
I'm doing that.
Funny bus driver story I have to tell you real quick. For a period of time, I had to drive in the mornings. And when you drive a bus in the mornings, you generally have to get up at 3:15, 3:30, 3:45, somewhere in there. You have to be at work between 4 and 5 generally, because most buses take off at about that point. And so consequently, especially if it is not your regular work, and so you can't do things that make you like in the regular course of your day, you eat at a certain time, you prepare to go to bed at a certain time, that's that sort of thing. So if you get your schedule screwed up and you are going to your layoff point, now we have layoff points where you drive the bus to this point, and then that's where you're going to start your trip from after you leave the base. And sometimes between leaving the base and getting to your layoff point, there's a certain rumbling that can happen if you had dinner at too late of a period of time. And so suddenly you are interested in finding a place because you're going to have to find a place sooner rather than later. And so this one morning I go to Deer Valley, and they have a comfort station there, and the comfort station's nice. It's got a door, and it's got ventilators, and it's got lights and stuff, and it's got heat, and so you can go use the comfort station. In this particular case, I had to use the comfort station quickly because apparently the burrito I had for dinner wasn't sitting well. And so I go and do that, and then I'm feeling better, and I get back on my bus, and I start my bus starts to take off, and I go into the lane of traffic, and I start to go by the comfort station, and there was a Metro bus driver standing there holding the door open.
Did you honk? Wave?
No. I didn't say that's me. Sorry. No. But I wasn't going to go there. So, but
was there a TCC message? Attention, driver. Please open door before you enter comfort station.
Well, did you hear about the? And it's all over the internet. But I don't know if you've heard about this one. It was the. A bomb threat was called in at the Home Depot. Did you hear about this?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead and tell that one. That one's hilarious. I dropped the bomb.
The news reporter said there was a bomb, an apparent bomb threat at the Home Depot today, and because somebody said that somebody else had said that there was a bomb in the men's room. And they found the guy that talked about that, and he said, "Well, no, that wasn't it. What it was I walked in there and said, I'm about to blow up this place. You may want to leave."
See, the subtleties of language, man.
Exactly. So everybody was like, "He's going to blow it up." Does that mean there's a bomb in it?
Arrest that guy.
No, man, I'm going to sit down and blow this place to hell. Nobody's going to come in here for a while.
He finds himself arrested, knee on his neck.
Yeah, exactly. Well, fortunately, I think he was. He reminded. Listening to that story reminded me of what's his name, the Get Her Done guy.
Oh, Cable Guy. Larry Cable Guy. Larry Cable. Yeah.
See, now that's the kind of thing that Larry Cable Guy would say in front of 4,000 people in an auditorium. Yeah, well, well, he did say one time. He said, I think when they put the toilet in the Home Depot, they need to put for display only.
Well, come on, be honest. Tell me you attempted at least once.
Exactly. Bathroom humor. We as bus drivers, we would sit around and talk about stuff about that and funny stories and things that happened to us. I wouldn't tell them the story of the other bus driver having to open the door to the men's room, because then I would be outed and he would probably want me written up. But
that's the kind of thing you keep to yourself, but you can share all else. I actually was driving down 12th. I was doing Route 60, and there was by the Native Health Center, and there is a homeless community there in tents. And this woman, and it was probably 6 a.m., and I pulled up. People were boarding, and this woman got out of her tent and walked right in front of my bus, maybe 14, 15 feet in front, and was facing, so her back was to me, and dropped her pants, squatted, and she did both 1 and 2 in front of me. Didn't clean herself up, put back on her pants, and then went back on her tent.
Holy crap. Right. Not
exactly. Just it's a rude awakening, man. It's a rude awakening. And this is how these people live. That's why public toilets have become such an issue, because protocols on those precarious. You don't know what people are going to do with them.
It's a hard decision. It's hard to understand what we live in. I see. It's beyond me that somebody could just do that and drop her drawer, but and then without anything to clean herself up and all that. It's like that's just amazing. But we live in a time when there are people that's how they live. And as a bus driver, you get to see it all.
That's how we start our day. That's the start of the day.
Yeah, and then you get to have that for the entire rest of the day and stuff, and it can be tough. That's why I agree with you. What we need to do is we need to put together a thing about being in the bullpen of the space of the base, so that you can have people coming and going. And I've always thought that having a show built around the window and that whole area right there would be really interesting, because what happens at the window, I mean, you could have all kinds of things that are going from there to the Chiefs back to the end, and then the bullpen and the people and the stuff. It would be, I think that would be very funny.
Oh, I think you're right. The people are fascinating, and the drivers. There's a misconception out there about the drivers. Most of the drivers are like you and I. It might be our second or third career. We're choosing to do this because it's a slower pace than what we did before. There are a lot of, there's ex-professors, ex there's musicians, and there's writers, there's artists that do this, there's people of all walks of life. There's a guy that I met, he's a minister,
Yeah.
that drives. There's all these people that have these fascinating, other lives going on. And I talked to this other guy that he, what is that car? Gosh, oh man, the name of the car just, Citroen. Citroen. He's
Oh,
big
yeah.
into Citroens. And are you familiar with Citroen cars?
Aren't
These
those?
French cars?
No, I'm not familiar, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, they're very uniquely engineered. They're known as the best riding vehicle manufactured. In fact, they're riding that Rolls-Royce um, uses some of their systems to achieve that comfortable ride that they get. And they were doing this when nobody else was doing this stuff, and they were doing it in an affordable way. And these were coming to invade France. Citroen took their contractors that were probably 20 years ahead of the game, and they stored their vehicles at the top of this villa in the top floor of this villa. I don't know how the hell they got them up there. And it was in the middle of this forest, and somehow these vehicles survived and the Nazis never got them, because they know that if the Nazis got these Citroens, these cars were better made and as affordably made as a VW. And if the Nazis got these, it would have changed the war, because the Nazis would have been driving Citroens rather than the VW Bugs, or those VW military vehicles that they were driving, which were, fine. They were good vehicles. But the Citroens were so far superior that it would have put us at a disadvantage in a lot of ways. It would have changed the war effort.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's a real history of car.
So this is a driver that he's got one that drives for us.
He's got 30 some of these.
Oh my!
And he's a mechanic. That he's from Germany, and he fell in love with these cars. And because of Germany's laws that they were passing, it became more difficult to own classic vehicles, because Germany's so much farther ahead in their environmental laws, that he decided to move to the United States, because we're not. We're a car culture here.
Yeah, we're not all that sophisticated here.
And we're always going to be a car culture. He knew his wife could live here and follow through with his love of Citroens. And pretty soon he's got 30 of them, and he's known around the world as a great Citroen mechanic. And he goes to Australia every year, except for this year because of COVID. And they do this cross-country rally with, 100 of Citroen, 70 to 100 Citroens that go across this of Australia, from Citroen drivers around the world, from 1930 some Citroens to current Citroens. It's fascinating. This is a dude that drives a bus, and very unique area of expertise, and very successful at it.
We have got there are a lot of guys that are like that, and there's some that have been. There's some that have been driving a bus for 30 years, and they've been driving 50 hours a week for 30 years. I don't know how they do that, but it takes a certain mindset to be able to deal with the people and on an ongoing basis. I am so glad. I shouldn't tell you this, but I'm so glad that I'm done doing that, because I would prefer to talk to you and stuff, and for us to have a good time and things. So it's much better for me to do that.
I hear you, buddy. I hear you. I enjoy it still. I can see at some point I'll be done with it, but I truly enjoy it. As offensive as it is to watch a homeless woman in her 40s gator bladder, about 12, 15 feet from me, I still enjoy, the larger part of my day.
Oh yeah. Well, and see, you're a people guy too. You enjoy watching people.
I enjoy watching people, yeah.
You can't watch people any better than you can from the seat of a bus.
It's hard to match it. It's hard to match it. It's a wonderful study of human nature, that's for damn sure. Man, if God wanted to get in touch with, if God wanted to if an alien wanted to figure out what's really going on with the human race, they would get onto a bus, watch, or they would, impersonate a driver, get a job, and do that for a couple of years, and then get on the phone and say, phone home,
Yeah, let me out of this place. Let me out of this place. So, well, I'll look, find that outline you did, and maybe next week we can sit down and we can pretend like we're sitting in a bus. Well, we can do pretend like we're sitting in a bus in the bullpen, and we all we need is one line each to start the conversation, and then we'll go from there.
That sounds great.
And,
that sounds great. I sent it by a messenger.
Okay, I've been so silly busy.
I know, man. I call you the marathon man.
Well, I absolutely love what I do, and I'll tell you this interview I did this morning at 7:00 in the morning my time was really phenomenal, and she is just something. As a matter of fact, I'm toying with the idea of taking out my ending and replacing it with this song. If she'll give me the rights to it to be able to do that.
How cool would that be?
That would yeah. So it's just phenomenal. So for the people that are listening, by the way, this is Eric Hall. He's a great man, and he's a writer, and we always have fun on Wednesdays with Transient. That's who he is.
Sure.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Whatever you want to be. You can be anything you want to be. This is America, damn it. And so we all have fun with it and stuff. But I just love this. It's gone by. It's been an hour. I can't believe it. It goes by so fast.
I feel like we're just getting started, man. It's just it amazes me. It goes so quick.
We could do 2 or 3 hours of this easily, but then everybody else would fall asleep, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, but Eric, it's been great having you here again. Next week, let's play with that, and we'll do it live.
Looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun. And Monday night, I've got that theater performance at Marsh Stream. Then tell the story. Yep,
that's right. And how does somebody find you there?
I'll post a link on Transience, but it will be 7:30 p.m. marshstreamtheater.org. You can type in Marsh Stream Theater, or you can go to YouTube and type in Marsh Stream, and you'll see live Marsh Stream, and catch me there. YouTube is a great place. But both will pay off. And Marsh Theater is a terrific place to hang out and find interesting topics and stories and what have you. And I really do mean what have you, because like your show, the podcast, they cover the full gamut, large range of items and interesting. It's just a terrific place to find some good entertainment, some meaningful things to ponder.
Exactly. Well, see, all I depend on are people like you who can come here and kind of guide my silly ass through it, because I just enjoy talking to you guys, and some of you like you have an incredible talent, and I'm anxious to see that come to fruition and for you to be a best-selling author. That's what I'm.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And speaking of best-selling things, I had the opportunity to interview a gal by the name of Fia, and she's from Sweden. She is a dynamic 26-year-old singer-songwriter, and what I'm about to play for you now. And Eric, if you want to hang up, you can. But I wanted to put this out here so that more people can get a sense of who she is. And is
Good.
that all with you?
Oh yeah, I'm listening, man. I want to hear this.
Okay. And this song is called "Love Is Love."
The way we love is a bit unusual. Some people say it can't be possible to live a life in unity, committed to each other while still remaining free. Just because we're different in the way our energy moves doesn't mean we have to give up our truth. Love is love no matter what color and form. All are equally beautiful. Nothing better than being met in my fullest expression. I'm safe to be myself. There's no need to compromise. When I'm in my power, everything aligns. Just because we're different in the way our energy moves doesn't mean we have to give up our truth. Love is love no matter what color and form. All are equally beautiful. Took some time to figure out who I am, what I want, the shape of my heart. The way we love is a bit unusual. Some people say it can't be possible to live a life in unity, committed to each other while still remaining free. Just because we're different in the way our energy moves doesn't mean we have to give up our truth. Love is love no matter what color and form. All are equally beautiful. Love is love no matter what color and form. All are equally beautiful. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun.
That is Fia. She's from Sweden. I had the opportunity to interview her this morning. She is going to be something. I'm telling you, when COVID is over, she's going to hit the ground running. And well, Susan even said phenomenal song, and this is the first time she's heard it. And the lyrics are wonderful. That is everything that is about what I do on this show is in that song.
Most certainly. Most certainly. It's just a beautiful, beautiful concept.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Love to hear more of her work. Love to hear more of her work.
Well, I got all 3 albums. If you got some time, The interesting thing was, generally speaking, because I've had a little bit of experience doing musical shows, because I did for 10 months, I did 2 hours, 4 days a week. At nighttime on I haven't told you about this. Nighttime on KKNW from 10 to midnight, and featured local musical talent.
Oh,
so
cool.
A lot of the bands that were and stuff from the local area, and
Wow.
so I got good at putting together a format so that I could do musical guests and do them fairly well. And so I was looking for through her catalog of songs, which is about 36 songs on the 3 albums. And I was having a really, really hard time making a decision as to what I was going to pull and play. Because there's so many of them, they're good. So many of them are inspiring. And so I highly encourage you to if you have an opportunity, I'm going to hopefully be doing more work with it if I didn't. It's one of those things, Eric, I have to tell you, it's one of those things that it's like, I want to do more work with her, but if she thinks I suck, I'll never get to do anything.
No, I think it was obvious she enjoyed her time with you.
She did. Fortunately, she apparently she doesn't. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. But we enjoyed our time. It was fun and stuff. So, the song title is "Love Is Love," and I'm going to go out with I'm just so hot for this girl because she is just so talented. I just wish that more people could know of her because Sheryl Crow, that's who I was thinking
Sheryl
of.
Crow, that's it. Yep, Sheryl Crow.
She's a storyteller like Sheryl Crow is. She is a songwriter in like Dolly Parton is. Did you know Dolly Parton wrote the song that was in the Kevin Costner, The Bodyguard?
Oh yeah.
I
will always love you.
Yes, she wrote that.
Yeah. She for back in the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it wasn't until Whitney Houston put her pipes on it that it really reached its glory day. But I mean, so Dolly Parton was a hell of a songwriter herself.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I love Dolly Parton, man. I could go on for days about Dolly Parton.
She's amazing.
Yeah, what an amazing woman. I got to see her in person once. I was standing about as close to her as I was that mirror behind me one day. It was a terrific day. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. I was in Tennessee. In fact, I was at Dollywood, and she has an apartment, a condo in Dollywood, and she was walking to her place as I was walking by. And, I waved, and she waved back. Hi, darling.
Yeah, she's a little girl, isn't she? She's short.
Yeah, she's tiny. I mean, you'd think she's like one of those what do they call it, puppets? And she's had a little work done, so you could see something like that going on. What an amazing woman. What an inspiration, and what a she's how people should be. If model our lives after, it's Dolly Parton, in my opinion, one of the many people, Dolly Parton.
Oh, exactly. And then that's why I say, I really think that people like Dolly Parton and the others that we've mentioned, her name went right back out of my head. I understand that's like the final thing of Alzheimer's, where you have it, and it just kind of goes zip, it's gone, and there it was, and I even said it to you, and now I can't remember what I said.
What were we talking about?
Sheryl
Crow, yes.
See, you're no better than me. You forgot too. So, but all of these women, I believe, in some manner. Well, all right. We're all touched by God. We all have got gifts that God gave us to run our lives with. I just happen to wish my gifts were different, and I could sing and I could write songs. Neither of which I can do. Was to play in front of an audience. But I do what I do. You do what you do, and we all do what we can. What our gifts are, and we all have gifts, every one of us, and we need to take that into an account when we think that we're not worth shit. That's not true. We're worth as much as everybody else on the planet. So
that's right. We choose our lives for a reason.
That's right. And Susan just said that she just welcomed me to the CRS club. I'm glad to be here. Yeah, can't remember shit. That's it. Susan, thank you.
Hey, Susan.
Yep. It was great fun. So anyway, we've exceeded our time limit, and I have to let you go have the rest of your sunny day off.
All right, Marathon Man, enjoy yourself.
Let's get together during the week and kind of flesh out this deal, because I think this could be a great deal of fun.
I do too. I'm looking forward to it, Kevin.
I'll even wear my Metro hat while we're.
Ooh, okay. That sounds good.
I got several of them that have never been worn.
Oh my God. Okay.
Because my career ended rather suddenly.
Yeah.
I went to work on Saturday and finished my shift. I moved all day Sunday, moved all day Monday, and then on Tuesday, I had in my car I had one lamp that I was going to move. This is how destined this was. One lamp I was going to bring into the house and put in my bedroom because that was the one that I had by my bedside, and so I was all I had in my hand. One friggin' lamp. And I fell, and I tried to catch the lamp, and somehow it tore my rotator cuff, and that was the last day I worked. Was the previous Saturday, and I had to call in sick that day because I couldn't move my arm, and my sister had to come take me to the emergency room and all that stuff. So that's how fast your life can change. So
that's horrible, man. That's the wrong way to become enlightened.
Yeah, but I got enlightened because that allowed me to do this.
Didn't work. I was thinking about the lamp. And, yeah,
Forget
I said it.
Hold on. There you go.
Thank you.
So
Swing of this. Strike. You're right.
Yeah, that's a little bit outside. So I would like everybody to thank Eric Hall.
Thank you. It's been fun. Thank you.
And we'll just throw one out there to Susan Snyder as well.
Thank you, Susan.
She's very much becoming a integral part of what we do here. So
and thank you, Paulette.
Yeah, Paulette had to go, but she says she loves you. So you have yourself. So Eric Hall, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Kevin.
It's been great fun.
It has been. Thank you.
And we'll see you next Sunday or next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Whatever day it is, we'll see you then.
All right, dude.
Take care, man.
You too. Bye.
Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other because each other's all we got. See you next time on My Independence Report.